Sigma's latest and widest mirrorless lens is ready for action. It's the 14mm f1.4 DG-DN art lens, designed for full-frame mirrorless cameras that use either the Sony E mount or the Leica L mount. There's a manual focus autofocus switch, programmable button, manual focus lock switch, and a switch to declick the aperture ring. It comes with a detachable tripod foot and built-in Arca Swiss plate. You get an angle of view of about 114 degrees, which is exceptionally wide. 114 degrees isn't nearly as wide as the 180 degrees a fisheye lens will give you, but it does so with very well controlled distortion on the edges of the image. You can focus as close as 11.9 inches from the sensor plane, and shooting this close, wide open at f1.4 gives you a very interesting effect. Next, let's talk about filters. Since this lens has a bulbous front element, thread-on filters is not an option. Thankfully, Sigma uses a rear mount filter frame. You can either use acrylic filters, or if you're like me and you have some ND gel film for your lights, you can use the included template to cut out your own filters. Now, just install them on the back and secure it in place with the lock switch. And in order to make sure you don't lose your filters, you can store them in the lens cap by opening the trap doors on the inside. In terms of weight, the Sony E mount version, like we're using here, is 40.9 ounces or 2.55 pounds, and the L mount version is 41.3 ounces or 2.58 pounds. Combining that with the camera we used to test this lens, the Sony Alpha 1, this setup weighs a little over 4 pounds. It is a little front heavy, but that's to be expected from a lens like this. Most people are going to use a lens like this for landscape during the day or for astrophotography. After some trial and error in finding a location and moon cycle, I was able to get some images that worked well to show off the Milky Way. The first time I shot this, I got the timing wrong of when the moon would be absent. Thankfully, I still came away with some beautiful images. I set my shutter speed to 25 seconds, the aperture wide open at f1.4, and changed my ISO to the desired look. I took several images in the same place, but with different ISO values, to show how much the sunlight reflects off the moon. These images were taken about 45 seconds apart from each other. After I shot the astro images, I tried to get a few short time lapses of the sun rising in the morning. Another use case for certain applications would be for using it while recording 8K video in a car. For those of you that have access to one camera and need to do a drive and talk video, use an 8K enabled Sony camera like the Alpha 1 or the A7R5 with this lens. Put the setup in the middle of the dash, or even better, use a suction cup to the windshield. Turn on face and eye detection and start recording. From there, you can edit HD or 4K inserts from the 8K video and still maintain a high quality recording. As a last fun shoot, we decided to mount the tripod straight in the air of the Jeep and film 4K 120 frames per second as we drove past various trees. We wanted to show off the colors before the leaves fell. A similar shot could work well if you shot straight up in a city with a tall skyline. If you want to make the Sigma 14mm f1.4 DG-DN art lens part of your kit, visit any of our physical locations or online at bedfords.com.